everyone, to the second episode of the Owl Tales podcast. I'm your host here, Matt Whitaker, and I've always, of course, got my good buddies here with me, helping me get through this this little show we put together. So we got Lewis is over there. I can't see him, but he's over there.
Hey.
There he is. There's Lewis. And then Daniel's up in Lexington. I can't see him either, but he's not in the same room with me. So
talking through a screen again.
Yep, talking through the screen. One of these days we're going to get Daniel in here, though, and we're all going to do one together in person, and it's going to be magical. We're going to do one with all three of us here. We'll probably be so slap happy if we do that. We can't, we won't get through it, I bet. So, well, Daniel, you're not here with us. What you been up to since we recorded that episode? That was way back before Christmas.
Yeah, it feels like an eternity ago. Well, you know, made it through the good old Christmas holiday and back into the school year, and got right back into the groove already. So I think all the teachers have kind of had that little first half week or whatever that we had for New Year's, and then getting right back into the teaching mode. And so that's what I've done. I've kind of got refreshed and reset, and got a student teacher this semester, and trying to help them figure this stuff out.
You think it's hard? Yes, I've got a student teacher too. She's doing a great job so far. She's going to do her first lesson tomorrow. Do you guys think, is it harder coming back after Christmas or coming back after summer break?
Christmas. I enjoy coming back after summer break because, you know, here in Kentucky, we have 55 extended days. Some of us have more. Some of us may have a little less. But it's kind of nice to actually get into a routine and be here with the kids. And then Christmas break's usually 2 weeks, and I'm just wanting to go back home and go back to bed. So
I think it's partly just the fact that it's winter.
I agree.
You just don't, in winter, you just want to stay home. I think. I don't know why it is. You just don't want to get out, that kind of thing. You think Christmas break's harder, Daniel, coming back?
I think so. I think it's harder to stay motivated to want to do a lot of things because of the weather. And, you know, like we spent the last, I don't know, 5 days, 6 days have been pretty dreary for us.
Yeah.
And I just think I think that plays a big role in it. And then I'm already ready for a snow day. I was like, I'm back into the groove, but I could use a snow day to get caught up. And I don't even know what I need to get caught up. But I already need a snow day.
Yeah, I already need a snow day. NTI day now, though. It's not a snow day
traditional instruction.
That's what everybody just loves that so much. All right. Anyway, so we had, I think, pretty good success on our first episode. We were just talking about it here before we started. We're very happy with how many downloads we've had and stuff, and people leaving comments and saying nice things to us in person. And Lewis, I think we probably had more of our students than I thought. I think we did a couple of TikToks and we did a couple of things, but I've had a lot of our students here at school that said they listen to the podcast, and I was a little surprised by that.
Yeah, I had several that said that they saw me on the Tiki Tack and stuff, so I thought that was pretty cool. So
yeah, I was. I guess that was a pleasant surprise, but I didn't know if what we were talking about was, what 16-year-olds wanted to hear. But I guess maybe it is. I don't really know. Are we hip and cool, Daniel, and we just don't know it?
I guess so.
I'm cool.
Couple of comments and things that we got from that first episode to kind of wrap up, things about lunch. And we're going to do this every episode. So if you want to throw in a comment, throw in a question, just send us a message, send us an email. Y'all know how to find us. We greatly appreciate anything that any of you all that listen want to contribute to the show. And so our first comment is from Trevor Harold. This one was on Facebook. And he was talking about lunch. You know, we talked about Grubhub in that last episode, and Lewis didn't know what Grubhub was. He said Grubhub is a good benefit when available. UK, that's where me and Daniel went to school. UK has robots to bring you food from them. So I guess that means that UK, you can get on Grubhub and a robot will bring you your food. So, and that kind of actually ties into the topic of our episode today. So, Daniel, you live in Lexington. Have you ever had a robot bring you food?
I have never had a robot deliver food to Locust Trace. I have seen the robot on campus once, but yeah, that's pretty wild. And I doubt they're going to travel to Rockcastle.
No.
From Lexington.
Yeah, I don't think it would make it down Leestown Road, much less Highway 461. Lewis, what do you think? Go ahead, Daniel.
They just stay on the in campus on the sidewalks pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a wild thing to see.
Lewis, what do you think would happen if there was a robot driving around Mount Vernon delivering food? What would happen to that robot?
That robot would become deceased very quickly by somebody in the county.
It would be at a pawn shop somewhere.
Yeah, give me $5.
I made it myself.
$5.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't last very long. It'd have a hard time getting up the hills too. So, I don't know. That might be a good thing on UK's campus. I don't know if the robot would make it very long out here in the hills. But I don't know. Maybe we should try. You could build it in the shop. You could build a robot in the shop that would deliver food to the teachers in the school.
Hey, that would be cool. I don't know anything about the artificial intelligence.
Well, it's good that you don't know anything about it, because we're going to talk about it for like 30 minutes today. But
sweet.
It's okay. All right, and then our other comment is from Gabrielle Prevet, who's an ag teacher out there in one of them Hopkinses, I think. Hopkinsville, Hopkins Central, Hopkins, Hopkins, I don't know. It's one of those. She said that she actually said a nice thing for me and you, Lewis. She said she hates that we have to walk our kids to and from lunch. And she said she did that when she taught middle school. Well, our high schoolers they're kind of like middle schoolers. So, they, at least they are here anyway.
My
so,
shop kids are.
No offense to apparently half of our audience is our high school students that listen. But, yeah, I mean, it's not, going and getting them is not that bad. And then she also said that they have a group of teachers at their school that they eat lunch with. They eat together. So they have like a group of teachers that eat lunch together. That must be nice. And then they usually end up watching YouTube, especially Matt Mitchell. And now Matt Mitchell is the former coach of the UK women's basketball team.
I know him.
Yeah. So it's probably a different Matt Mitchell, though, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know if Matthew Mitchell, the basketball coach, has a YouTube channel, but they probably. So I'm imagining this group of teachers, they're sitting around getting basketball coaching advice while they're eating lunch. That's kind of what I'm picturing in my head. So
I need that for my son.
Oh, yeah, because he's playing basketball.
Yeah, he's playing basketball. He's
Yeah.
6 years old, and I don't know what's going on half the time. So,
Are you coaching him?
no, I am not, but I'm kind of coaching him from the stands. I'm like John Calipari, who is the University of Kentucky coach, and I just yell, go, go, go the whole time. So,
Yeah. But it's a little different because you're not the coach.
yeah, it's kind of weird.
You're just
People
sitting
look
in
at
the stands yelling, go!
Do you get a lot of weird looks?
Oh, yeah. I had one person come up to me last year, me and my dad, because we were telling Dylan to shoot or guard somebody or something other. And a guy come up to me and my dad, and he knew us pretty well. And he said, this ain't the NBA. You don't have to, make them feel like it's NBA. And my dad looked at him and said, well, he's competing, so he's out there to be like he's in the NBA, and he's going out there to win, not to go out there and lose. And that guy just kind of looked at him and walked off. So,
Yeah. it's important. You know, you don't want them to send. I mean, obviously, like it's not, the end of the world, right? If they don't play well or if they lose, but like you don't want to send them out there, these little kids when they're playing basketball and being like, "It's all right, honey. You don't have to try that hard. Just go out there and just be out there on the court." They're not going to learn anything. The whole point's to learn.
That gets on my nerves.
Yeah,
Go
it
win.
gets on my nerves too, a little bit. So anyway, those were our comments for the day. Thank you to ones of you all that sent those in. And once again, we'd love to have we'd love to do about 10 of those every episode. So if you guys have something that you want to ask us or something that you want to say about today's episode, get on there and let us know. We want to give as many shout outs and to as many different people as possible and get as many comments as we can. All right, so getting into today's topic, we already kind of alluded to it and stuff. We are going to talk today about AI. And first of all, I'm going to start out with this. I think we need to get a definition of what AI is, because when I was a little kid in elementary and middle school, AI was Allen Iverson. Yes. So it started out being Allen Iverson, and everybody had the Allen Iverson shoes. So it started out with Allen Iverson. Then when I got into ag class in high school, AI was artificial insemination, which is a lot different than Allen Iverson, to be fair. And now AI is artificial intelligence. And so now when you hear those letters AI, that's like supposed to be the first thing that comes to your brain. So Daniel, I'm going to ask you this question. What is artificial intelligence? Because Lewis already said he didn't know what it is, and I'm sure I don't know what it is. So what is artificial intelligence?
Well, it's kind of like a brain, a control center that has all these answers, but there's no human attached to it. It's basically the robot coming up with whatever answer it needs to for your question, or it can do all kinds of things. I was actually just talking to a couple of teachers just a little bit ago that they even do meal prep with AI for the week.
Like at home?
Yeah. So like they'll come up with like what to fix for the week for lunch and supper and recipes and all kinds of things this stuff can do. It's actually kind of mind-boggling, kind of scary, and also.
Well,
at the same time.
Okay.
So, okay, when you put, but it says it's artificial, right? So, but somebody had to put the intelligence in there, so it's still not. It's not artificial. It's human intelligence, but it's more just like it's shared intelligence, right?
Well.
Yeah, well, and I think basically it has the ability to pull the information from all over, whatever Google or all these websites that are out there, and to compile it in a very fast manner.
Yeah.
But it might take us, we could find this information, but it might take us 10 minutes to find it, and it does it in like 0.002 seconds.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you who put all this together. It was that Skynet. Skynet put it all together back in the 1980s. And they started this whole controversy. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to have Terminators walking this earth, just like in the movie, The Terminator. They predicted this in the 1980s, kind of like The Simpsons does.
Yeah. And
I'm going to kind of tell you that here comes the Terminator down the road in the next 4 or 5 years, because, oh my goodness, I'm going to go down here and do these preps and do all this stuff. And Skynet's the one that put it together, and they're going to figure out how to get us. And they're going to come with Terminators, and they are going to get us. And we're going to have to come up with the next John Connor to figure out how to save the world.
Kill the Terminator.
Yes.
And it started off as a robot that brought you your lunch.
Yes.
At campus, on campus at UK. It sounds so sweet and innocent at the beginning, and then it ends up murdering you.
Yes.
Kind of like owning a cat. maybe cats are artificial intelligence.
They are.
You think?
Cats are like the basically the right hand man to Satan. They are the devil. Cats are.
You know, I think we've just uncovered a conspiracy theory. This wasn't supposed to be a conspiracy theory podcast, but I think it just became one. Cats, and you heard it here first. Cats control artificial intelligence.
And Skynet.
I also feel like Lewis has been out like hunting armadillos.
Armadillos?
And trying to try to carve out his helmet.
Yes, I have been preparing for that.
You made an armadillo helmet?
Yes. I have one at home so that Skynet cannot reach my brain. I also put tin full on it.
So armadillo and tinfoil helmet protects you from artificial intelligence.
No, it keeps you safe from Skynet.
From Skynet. Was that in the movie?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
I just come up with that on my own, though.
Well, I think we should all try it. Just in case. Just in case. I don't know, but the cats will find out, though. The cats will find out that we did.
That's why I don't have cats.
Yeah. I mean, I do have cats. They may be part of the conspiracy. I don't really know. But so anyway, I think Daniel alluded more to how people use artificial intelligence in education and stuff. So here's my next question for you guys. You know, basically we've got all this stuff. We got social media, we got all this, and now we've got artificial intelligence. In like 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, is human interaction going to exist anymore? Or is it just going to be like we do everything through artificial intelligence?
It kind of seems that way at times, and the more I interact with some humans, I kind of feel like sometimes it's not a bad thing, but I also enjoy a lot of human interaction between my friends and good colleagues and that kind of thing. But it kind of looks like at some point we're going to get to the place where basically to interact with me, it's going to have to come through a computer or some kind of device, because we don't want to actually see people.
Yeah.
Well,
that's kind of sad.
And I think AI is...
I'm going to miss you all.
Yeah. I have to email you through AI now. But I'll jokes aside with AI. I think it can be beneficial. I was talking to somebody and they said that they drafted a lot of their emails through AI, like to parents and different, people. And I think it can be handy in some ways, but I'm kind of like you guys. Like, I'm afraid we're going to lose a lot of the human element to conversations, whether it be through email or text or whatever. I think AI is going to be doing a lot of those things for us. And it's probably not going to happen in the next 10 years or something, but yeah, I would say like by the time our children get, our age, there will be a lot of use of artificial intelligence and stuff. So,
yeah. I mean, you think about like just the way the world was when our parents were born, or even our grandparents. Like how much stuff, like my parents were born in like the 60s, right? So you think about like all the stuff that's changed in the world just since they were born, and they're not even that old yet, like they've gone through so many like, do you think when they were in high school that they could even fathom like cell phones, like what that would become? No. I mean, that was like the Jetsons. I feel like we're living in the Jetsons right now, to be honest. Like that was stuff that was only on cartoons. And now in their lifetime, those things have come true. Like those things are real now.
And if you just want to see what's going to happen and what is going to become the truth, you just have to watch The Simpsons and watch for the signs. And
yeah,
they predict a lot of crazy things. It is kind of crazy, the things that happen on The Simpsons
that come true.
They actually come true.
So what all the things on The Simpsons, they predicted that Donald Trump would be president. I remember that one.
Predicted 9/11.
Yeah, they predicted 9/11. They predicted, didn't they predict like a team that was going to win the World Cup or something? I think there was one of that. Like they predicted the winner of the soccer World Cup. They did. Do you guys remember any other ones they did? The big one's Donald Trump.
There were several really big ones. I can't think of them off the top of my head. But I know the 9/11 one was always the one that kind of blew my mind the most.
Yeah. They, if y'all know of any of those, send them in the comments because I want to kind of get a better list of those because I know there's been several that they talk about with the Simpsons that were things that actually came true. So it's kind of wild.
I'm sure we could AI it, and they could just tell us right now. If I had, I'm not where I could AI something, but it could probably generate all of the things that the Simpsons have predicted that have come true.
So where do you think, like, when we're looking at like where this is going in the future? You know what? Lewis and I went to a PD at the beginning of the school year, and they were talking about like how, you know, the way AI is now, and we think it's just kind of like a neat little toy. And like 10 years from now, it's going to be what they described to us was that it's going to be able to do things that right now we can't even fathom it doing. So where do you guys think the end of this is? Like, what do you think? Where are we going to end up with AI? Like, where are we headed with it?
I think that there will be a lot of legislation and a lot of things will be left up for lawmakers, good or bad. I just think that there will be a lot of things in the next few years trying to legislate uses of AI. And like there's already, I think it's maybe Australia, I think they've banned some of it from like education or something right now. And I think it's like, you know, good or bad. Maybe it's a good thing they did. Maybe it's a bad thing. I don't know. It's probably out of like, my guess is out of fear of like, what can this stuff actually do? And it's kind of like, you know, it's the devil. But I don't know. I'm not sure that we can even think about what the implications of the use of this stuff is going to be and where it's going to take us and where it's going to go. I do know just even from, you know, since we're ag teachers and we talk about, you know, FFA contests and that kind of thing, like I think it will change some of that in some form or fashion. You know, it's kind of crazy to think that we used to give speeches on emerging technology in agriculture, and we talked about artificial insemination as being like an emerging technology when we were younger. Embryo transfer, that kind of stuff, and now we're talking about artificial intelligence. It's like I don't know what it can do and where it's going to take us, but it's kind of crazy stuff.
Well, it's kind of crazy to me that, you know, now you're talking about emerging technologies. We have tractors that legitimately drive themselves. Nobody sits in the, you know, cab or whatever you want to call it, and it just drives through the field and plants beans and knows what to do and knows when to lift the seeder and, you know, those kind of things. I mean, it's beneficial in its own ways for some stuff like that. I just worry, and maybe this is crazy, but, you know, going back to the Terminator stuff, like I'm afraid AI is going to get so smart, which it's already smart, but get so much more intelligent that like it can set off like bombs and, you know, destroy information and different things. And I know they claim Elon Musk kind of was interviewed, and I was kind of reading about it. He said that most people that's working on AI are being careful on what they allow it to do, but you get, you know, one bad person that makes, you know, some kind of script that, you know, they have it do something really, really bad. I don't know, like set off bombs, you know, and then there we are. So I think sometimes it's kind of scary.
That's going to happen eventually. because this stuff always happens. Like people always end up using those things for something that they shouldn't. I mean, this is how the world works. But so, what about?
Evil,
Go ahead,
evil will
Daniel.
always, I would say, evil will always exist, no matter what we do.
No matter what we do. That's right. That's a very deep and profound thought. So, what about kind of more specific to education? I know, like, we've had a, some people are more excited about how we can use it in education. Some people are more hesitant. It kind of seems to me like one of the biggest worries with education is it students' original work, and how you can tell if it's a student's original work and they're not being really a really good way to tell. I mean, I think there's technology now that can detect AI language and stuff in writing and that kind of thing. I'm sure that that's really behind. But then, at the same time, like I mentioned something about Chat GPT in class the other day. I think I signed an essay and I said, no, you can't use Chat GPT. And I was kind of making a joke, and the kids were like, what's that? Like they didn't even know what it was. So I don't even know if all the students are up to date on all the stuff that's available to them and stuff they can do. But what do you guys think about how it's going to end up impacting education?
Well, I'll say this, like it has been beneficial for me. I'm teaching ag biology. I haven't taught it in 5 years, and I lost all the stuff that I had to teach it with. So I was trying to come up with a lesson. I couldn't really think of what all I wanted to put in it, and I used Chat GPT to kind of help me formulate a lesson. I just typed in there, create a lesson about, I can't remember what it was, but sales for a high school biology class. And like, it was exactly like kind of what I was thinking, and, it kind of put me on the right path. So I think it's beneficial for teachers in some ways to kind of, we've all been there. We kind of couldn't think about what we wanted to talk about. Right. And, it's kind of beneficial for that. I think with FFA, I think it's something that we're going to have to watch, especially like for essay contests and speeches and stuff of that nature. Yeah. Something we'll have to try to figure out. And Kentucky is kind of starting to work on that, I believe. Is that right, Daniel? We talked about that at executive meeting or something, I think. So.
There's been some talk about that and like what to do about it, but I'm going to jump back to something Lewis just said. I'm not sure how many people will catch what Lewis just mentioned, but he said that it basically spit out what he was kind of thinking. So did they use Lewis's brain for AI?
That's scary. If they
Are you a cat?
Are you behind? It's like every time I type something in, it's spitting it out in like Lewis Mink format.
That'd be bad if it did.
That would be kind of crazy. I think. I got two things. One is I'll just comment on what Lewis said real quick. So a couple of weeks ago, we did have our Kentucky Ag Teachers winter meeting, and we had a contest committee meeting. And at the contest committee, that was a topic of discussion was artificial intelligence, and should we like form a committee to discuss like how we want to handle that stuff. And there was like 20 ag teachers sitting in that room, all of us pretty reasonably intelligent people. And we're sitting there and like nobody had anything to say. Nobody had anything to, like, we were just all sitting there being like, yep, that's going to be a problem. and we're going to have to address it eventually. And we just all, and then when it got to like, well, what can we do? We all just sat there because we don't really know. We don't really know what we can do. And it's kind of one of those things where, you guys are right. We got to figure something out, but I'm not even sure if we're qualified to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And here's the other thing. Yeah. Here's the other thing I wanted to throw out there, and Daniel, I'll let you comment on this. So like Lewis said, he used it for a lesson, and that's great. But if we're going to teach students, like how are we going to use it? How do we use that technology? as teachers. And we're like, well, we're going to use AI to make PowerPoints, and we're going to use AI to do this and do that. And then we look at the students and be like, you all can't use it.
Yeah.
You all can't, like, we're going to use it to do all of our stuff, but you all can't use it. You got to do it with your brain. And to me, that is one of the biggest issues with it in education, is because, like, it seemed like I mentioned, we had that PD back in the summer, and everybody's all like excited, like, here's what you can do as a teacher with AI, and here's what you can do as a teacher. But then we're like, no, students, you can't use it. You can't do that. And I mean, I get that. I mean, I understand it's, we don't want them to plagiarize, but we also tell them not to plagiarize. But then when we do it, we call it borrowing from another teacher. Like, this teacher in Georgia made this PowerPoint, and now I've got it and I'm using it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
If we're setting,
Or we just go to
if we use it, we're
teacher and
setting
get
a
it.
bad example for them.
Yeah, and if you look back over time, the education system as it is today and how it was basically created was to basically generate employees. And, like, you think about the things that we do in education, trying to teach students how to be good workers and good employees. We rarely in education do we teach them or get to the bottom of, like, creating solutions and, working on things like being entrepreneurs and great thinkers and thinking critically. And, I think it's going to be, in my mind, for us as educators, this is not going away. So I think we have to figure out, one, how to incorporate it, and two, how to teach the students the right ways to use this.
Yeah. I think you're right.
And if we don't teach them how to use it, then I think we're failing. We are going to begin failing as teachers, not just in ag, but in every subject.
I agree. It's kind of, to me, I know this is kind of a big jump, but it's kind of like a calculator. When calculators first came out, people thought that was like the craziest thing, that you could have this little machine that would compute numbers for you. And like, when we were in school, what would our teachers always say about calculators? Like, when they were teaching us math, what would they say about calculators?
You won't always have that on you.
Yeah, you won't always have a calculator to help you, but guess what?
I've got one on my
Guess
phone.
what? We all got one in our pocket that we carry around with us everywhere we go. And I think it's going to kind of be the same thing with artificial intelligence. Like, we're like, right now, I think what a lot of people want to say to students is, you're not always going to have that to help you, but you are. Like, I think, I think years from now, there's no telling what students will be able to do in their day-to-day life. So,
yeah, the thing to also think about is, with AI, basically it's all based on the things that we currently know and the ways that we currently do things. Eventually, it'll get to a point where, like, you have to keep adding things to this, and you have to, they're going to try to keep advancing these things, so you have to put new things in it.
Yep.
So I mean, and I don't know how they do that. I don't know how it works, but in my mind, like, eventually you're going to get to a point where, I don't know, we'll just use agriculture as an example. Nobody knows how to grow the food. We're just going to rely on the computer and the robot to do it. But somebody has to program that stuff, so somebody has to have some knowledge about it.
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
like, you got to have somebody that can program the thing in there, but somebody that also has the knowledge to say it needs to put out so many pounds to the acre, and it has to, like, you have the knowledge to be able to say these are the things that it needs to do to make it work.
Right.
And I don't know how you do that, but that's just my thoughts on it.
Yep. I think it's, right now that's above all of our pay grades. And for us, like, we're at the age now, all of us are, that it's not going to be us doing it. Like when we're old, when we're 70 years old, the way that we think of maybe some of our grandparents and stuff with their smartphone, that's going to be us with something to do with this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to be sitting there and we're going to be like, I'll go get my grandkids to teach me about this, about this, whatever it is. I got to get them to show me how to do this. So.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy how fast all of it does change. And like you said, you think about, our parents, our grandparents, the things that they have seen change. Like you take, like our grandparents' age of people, that generation has seen all kinds of things. I mean, my grandma talked about going from, horse and mule and all that kind of stuff plowing the fields to tractors to all the things that she was able to see in her lifetime.
Yep.
I mean, that's a huge difference. And like, will we experience that same kind of difference in our lifetime? I don't know.
Oh, I think
I guess
we will.
we will.
I don't know what it'll be, but we will.
Terminators.
We laugh, but you never know. So, Lewis, do you think, honest and truly, do you think that artificial intelligence is going to be the end of the world?
Yes. I always thought computers would be in some ways. But I just think we're getting too far advanced with some of this stuff. And, in 50 years, if I hear this again, I'll probably think I'm an idiot, which most people already think I'm an idiot. But I do kind of, it worries me. It may not be within our lifetime or our kids or grandkids, but in some ways I think AI and the technology that we're trying to incorporate will somehow in the human species and all species.
They'll leave the cats. The cats will still be here.
Yeah, that'd be it.
It'll just be cats
and roaches
and things that cats eat. That'll be all that's left in the world. So, what do you think, Daniel?
I mean, I think there's a lot that goes into that. When you talk about I think it is definitely changing how we interact with people and the way that we do business and the way that we even go get lunch. And eventually, I think, obviously the world is going to end just based on the things based on the good book that I read. This world is coming to an end, and it does tell us how, but like we don't really know how that's going to happen.
We don't know the minute details.
Right. And so is it going to be because the AI server catches fire somewhere and lights the whole earth on fire? I don't know. But maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I do know. I think I think we're going to have to get on top of it and make sure that the artificial intelligence doesn't get smarter than we are. That's what we got to withhold some information from the artificial intelligence and make sure that it doesn't find out some things. So we have like that ace in the hole, like keep that in our back pocket and be like, yeah, you didn't know about this, did you?
It kind of makes me think of that movie, Idiocracy, where like the guy's frozen in time or whatever. And have y'all ever seen that?
No.
I think I did. Maybe.
Yeah. So basically, like the guy's frozen in time. He's just an average intelligence, and like then later on they bring him back out, and he's like the smartest man in the world. Like everybody else just kept, like the world just kept getting more dumb, and like just the average things that we think about that we know right now. He's like a super genius because nobody else knows. That's I kind of
so.
Feel
Lewis,
like
how long would you have to be frozen in time before you were the smartest person in the world?
20 million years.
You
I don't
come
know
in frozen. They're like, look at this dinosaur.
Rawr.
I do think like, like in like 20 or 30 years, people may use this episode of this podcast to go back and be like, look at how dumb people were about this. It's kind of like I watched this documentary about the 90s one time, and it ended with this clip from the Today Show where they were talking about the internet in like 1992 or something like that. And they were like, what is this internet? Do you think people will actually use this? and they were just kind of talking about it kind of like we are right now. So,
well, I mean, we lived through the Y2K, and like I remember people talking about like, oh, the computers are not going to roll over, and like
yeah, people really thought that was the end.
My mom.
Yeah.
No, seriously, like she was worried. We all set up New Year's Eve just to see if it ended. And when it didn't end at 12 midnight and 2 seconds, Dad said, well, let's go to bed.
He didn't even give it 10 minutes to kind of let everything build up.
No.
Did he go outside and make sure that everybody else was still there or anything? He just went to bed.
Just went to bed.
Just went to
they'll
bed.
be here or they won't.
Oh, gosh. Well, if there's one thing that's very clear, it's that we are all experts on all this stuff we were talking about today. And if you share this with people, they will become much more knowledgeable about artificial intelligence because you've heard from the best, absolute best today. All right, so a couple of things that we want to talk about here before we get to binomial nomenclature. Number one, please go and join our Patreon. Even if you don't, of course, we've been on there saying a lot about doing the $5 a month to get the sticker and everything, but you don't have to do that to join our Patreon. You can join with the free membership. If you'd like to do that, patreon.com/OwlTalesPodcast. We would be very appreciative if you do the free membership or if you do the $5 membership. You're more important to us than the $5 for sure. So, we'd like to have everybody on there following along with what we're doing. And we are going to put some more stuff on there. We put a video on there kind of previewing our last episode, and we're going to do some more of that kind of stuff. And hopefully everybody will, get on there and follow along and see kind of what we're doing. A couple of people sent me a message that they were having trouble with Apple Podcasts, and I was having a little trouble with mine as well. I think what happened was when we started and then restarted, something happened with our feed that goes to Apple Podcasts. So there's like an old feed and a new feed. And so if you get on there, if you're having trouble, just try to unfollow it and then refollow the podcast. And that should work. It should put it on there the right way. Then if you have trouble though, you can just look up the individual episode and find it that way. Or you can do a different podcasting service like Spotify or Amazon. And then one thing I wanted to do, I want to give a shout out to some fellow podcasters that we have in the state of Kentucky now. The Growing Kentucky Leaders, which is a podcast by the Kentucky FFA Foundation. That is Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink. And they are doing a podcast about things to do with the Kentucky FFA Foundation now. And so if you all want to go check that out, you should. I think their episodes are real short, like 10 or 15 minutes. So go check that out. And if you're not in Kentucky, maybe you can, if you're an ag teacher, you can check that out and then take it to your FFA Foundation and be like, look what Kentucky's doing. We should do this too. And everybody should go check that out. It's on all the major podcast platforms also. Also, everyone, please go and subscribe to our YouTube page. That would be a tremendous help to us if you would go to our YouTube page and subscribe to the OwlTales podcast page. Our episodes go on that page, and then we also have a couple of videos on there as well. So, and we're going to be putting more videos up. So go check that out and subscribe to the YouTube page. That is a big help to us. And of course, if you want to contact us, all of our social media, everything is OwlTales Podcast or at OwlTales Podcast. And that's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and now the TikTok. So I think our TikToks have been real successful. We've had like 2,000 views on all of our TikToks. Once again, that's mostly students at Rockcastle County High School, but hey, they're driving up the viewership, so we're pretty happy with that. So I think me and Lewis are going to go do a TikTok like right now as soon as this is over. So the TikTok's been pretty good.
Lewis, have you looked at the actual scientific name of the word of the day?
Well, I pulled it up and I've seen it, so that's about all I've done with it. So,
I mean, for the most part, I don't know if people realize that most of the time Lewis didn't really look at these in advance. Like he looks at them like during the episode while we're talking.
He gets it ready during the episode and then just does it because he is a professional.
I legitimately just like loaded it up, typed it in the Google or whatever, and it come up, and I've said it dead in front of me. I can't see that far, so.
Lewis probably needs glasses.
Yeah. I go May 28th for my appointment.
I hope that's like a long time away.
Yeah.
Why'd you get it that far away?
Stephanie's like, well, once you call UK, whatever eye people, what's that? Optometry.
Optometry.
Yeah. Optometry.
Or ophthalmology.
Oh, yeah. Ophthalmologist.
Yeah.
And she's like, call them. She said, that's where Dylan went. So I called them. She said, you call him right now. And I called them. And I said, I need a eye appointment real soon. They said, what's wrong? I said, I can't see like I used to. Like, I can't see far away or up close real good. She's like, okay, my next available appointment is May 28th. And I was like, you got anything sooner? She said May 27th. I was like, May 28th will be fine.
I think you should drop that and go to our local optometrist here. That's what I think you should do.
Probably.
You could probably get in like in 2 weeks, maybe.
I just ain't got time to take off school to go. So
You do. You do.
Just go down to the math teacher. They teach something real similar, the way you pronounce it at least. I mean, just go down to the geometrist.
Yeah, the geometry teacher. They can help you.
Yeah, I could do that.
They'll get you sorted right out.
Probably. I think it's like 20/50 vision what I got now.
Get you some triangle-shaped glasses, and you'll be good. All right, so today's binomial nomenclature with Lewis is the succulent plant string of pearls. We'll probably have some string of pearls right out here in our greenhouse here in a couple weeks. So this is going to be one we need to know, Lewis. We need to know, what is the binomial nomenclature for string of pearls?
String of pearls. Curio. Rollianus. Curio Rollianus. Curio Rollianus. Yeah. Curio Rollianus. That is the binomial nomenclature with Lewis.
I feel like you nailed that one.
That's great.
I was kind of scared, quite honestly, how he was going to say this one. I mean, if everybody listened to last episode.
Yeah.
I finally figured out what that was, and okay.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
Well, I'm glad you learned something. So that's good. I'm glad Lewis learned something. So also I listened to that episode with my son riding in the car, and we got to the end of it, and I was just laughing, and he didn't laugh near as much, and I was like, it's okay. He's like, what's so funny about it? And I was like, it's just funny.
It's just dumb. That's why it's funny.
It's just funny.
You didn't really want to get into that discussion with your
no
old son.
Not yet. No, he's 9, but it's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Back quickly.
Yeah, it does. You haven't seen it in a while. All right, it's the Al Tells podcast. I'm Matt. He's Lewis.
I'm Lewis.
Daniel's on the phone.
He's Daniel.
He's Daniel. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.